Hello, hello, lovelies. It's me, Kathlena, the voice behind Oracle Audios. And we got another Oracle Audio for you for the week of September 21st through the 27th. So this week's feeling kind of stormy. It's like a thunderstorm. And we're watching the sky split open. And what's false is struck away, and what's real is left glowing. The cards that were drew was the Queen of Swords, the Lovers, and the Six of Pentacles reversed. Together, I feel that they're calling us to speak our truth, make soul-aligned choices, and bring our energy back into balance. So before we dive in, let's center ourselves. May we find clarity in the storm. May our choices be steady, not rushed. May conflict refine us, not consume us. And may endings make way for beginnings. And so it is. So, reckoning and recalibration are the words for the week. Today's the new moon in Virgo and a solar eclipse on the South Node. So we've got some energy here. I'm recording it on the 21st. So this is about clearing habits and agreements that no longer serve us. Mercury rules Virgo. So there's a mental purification aspect. Contracts, boundaries, and thought patterns could be rewritten. We always have the power of choice. So the Queen of Swords brings sharp clarity, also some emotional wisdom, the ability to speak truth without cruelty. The Lovers puts us at a crossroads. And we talked about crossroads last week, asking us to choose integrity over comfort. So is there something that's in your life that's been repeating over the last 6 months, a theme, and you've been choosing comfort and not wanting to look in the mirror? This is another opportunity. The stars, fate is saying, all right, are you ready? And then the Six of Pentacles reversed is showing where energy flow is a little wonky. Where you could be overgiving, overpromising, or quietly resenting what you've been giving, or something's just funky and out of balance. Okay, and then we have the Autumn Equinox on September 22nd. Ooh, the light and the dark. It's a nice reset. It's a chance to bring everything into perspective as we are entering the darker half of the year. So let's dig in a little further. So the Queen of Swords is water of air, intuitive, emotional dimension of intellect. This archetype is cutting through illusion with compassion, not malice, though it could be seen and the reverse is in the cliff off, where it can get abused and be cruel. So when this is upright, we're working with clarity that liberates but not punishes. Traditionally, this is a thought, all queens link to Bina, the Great Mother, giving her Saturn that constriction, the discipline, the maturity that's on that side of the tree of life. So some allies, some entities that you could work with. We have the archetypes of Athena, Ma'at, then the entity Archangel Tzvakiel, and we also have Hecate as a torchbearer. So things to think of. Where am I afraid to speak the truth because it might upset the balance? And how can I honor my feelings while being clear and direct in my words? And this ties back to sovereignty. So then moving on to the Lovers. If you've been on my Instagram, I have a post about the path of Zane. Um, I'm still studying this. You know, you go layers and layers into this in Kabbalah. So it's connecting um, Bina and Tiferet, so understanding and beauty. This is kind of like an alchemical wedding. The head and the heart in union, not opposition. And in Virgo season with this, and then also with the Queen of Swords, because the path of Zane is really about getting clear. And using that sword. This could feel like a choice that rewrites a long-term path. I'd say I'm thinking 6 to 9 months. So this is really, like we've talked about in previous channelings, that when we are trying to find what's our next step to get us to our ultimate overarching goal, this is the fine-tuning that compass. Okay, and you could work with the entities, the Archangel Raphael, Aphrodite, Hermes, Freya. There's some other ones as well. And ask yourself, what choice, if I made with complete integrity, would bring my inner and outer worlds into harmony? And what does that look like? And where am I being asked to stop splitting myself in two and choose wholeness? Okay? The path of Zane is really, it is such a, I think, a pivotal path to work in pathworking, in Kabbalah, as a magician. And it's really, oh gosh, I could just go off on a tangent, which I am. Okay, I'll have to save that for another podcast. We'll put a pin in that. So then moving on. Okay, so now with the third card. So now we're, looking at the Six of Pentacles reversed. So this card is traditionally the moon in Taurus, Decon 1. So when it's upright, the generosity is most grounded form, because 6 is with Tiferet. And it's interesting that we're working with Tiferet, because we talked about with lovers, the path of Bina to Tiferet. But in reversed, with the Six of Pentacles reversed, there's an imbalance. So giving has strings attached. And so I'd even say that if you dig deeper into the layers, that this is the husk. This is, I can't remember the name of the cliff off, but there are strings attached. So taking without gratitude, or resenting the exchanger, asking for something without reciprocity. This week is really asking you to look at that in your relationships, in your communications, and in your dynamics, the power dynamics. So the allies I'd say to work with, again, Archangel Raphael to heal that. I'd say Ma'at. Then we've got Lakshmi for bringing in the abundance in a healthy way. And Demeter, I could be pronouncing that wrong, my brain. And I want you to ask yourself, where am I leaking energy or giving from guilt instead of generosity? And where am I asking without reciprocity? And where is there an unequal energy exchange? What is truly reciprocal relationship? What does that look like? Because when we're looking at dynamics in relationships, with money, with love, with spirit, with business, there is the law of energy exchange. And remember, if we're not asking clarifying questions in these dynamics with these people or entities, you don't know what you don't know because you're being an asshole and you're not asking. You're assuming. And assuming makes an ass out of you and me. That was a little soapbox if you didn't notice. So moving on. We already talked about that the Virgo New Moon and the South Node of solar eclipse. I'm filming on it today, and it's been a beautiful, powerful day so far. So this is like a karmic reset. Release overwork. Release perfectionism. And obligations that aren't yours. Like when I went into recording this, I'm hoping this audio turns out great. Who knows? Because, yeah, I'm just releasing the perfectionism. And then I already talked about the Autumn Equinox. Okay, so a little mini ritual that you could do. Grab a candle, okay? Any candle. Tea light. We're doing candle magic here, people. Let's do it. And we want to bring in balance and clarity. So if you got a white candle, a blue candle, a green candle, or just any candle, even if it's an electric candle, because you can't have candles because of where you live. I get it. We are going to make magic work for us, okay, people? So write one situation or belief that you're ready to release. And if you're able to safely burn it. But if you're not, you could shred it into pieces, soak it in some water, and bury it in the earth if you can. If not, that's okay. You could just toss it away after you shred it into pieces. And then I want you to, over your flame, whether with a fire flame or electric, depending on what you are working with, I want you to say, may clarity rule my choices. May I give and receive in right measure, and so it is. Because we're going to speak that into existence. And I want you to sit with it and do self-examination, self-inventory, and journal, okay, or voice note, or, get out your Google Sheet and type away, or do text to talk, whatever works for you. Here's the question. What would it feel like if everything I gave was freely given and everything I received was freely received? Okay? Let me say that again. What would my life feel like if everything I gave was freely given and everything I received was freely received? So no strings attached. What would that feel like? Freedom. Freedom to just be. Just to give because you're just giving. To receive, to just receive. And you could perform this on any day, honestly, but if you wanted to add a little extra oomph to it, we got Wednesday for Mercury for clarity and Friday Venus for working on those relationships. Okay? And if you're wondering what would be perfect from my shop for equinox rituals and energetic resets, we've got the fiery wall of protection and uncrossing candles. I've also got the spooky season dark romance candles that are super awesome. In the descriptions, I give you a whole bunch of ideas of how to work magic with these unfixed candles, people. Like, it's gold mines, okay? And then you can dive deeper. There's other meditations, music. And if you found any of this, if you're already towards the end, because I know we are going over on time, if this moved you, I want you to drop the scales in the comments. If you are listening on YouTube, Patreon, or on Substack, yes, people, I'm on Substack. The little scale emoji is like a little mini spell to restore balance and the collective current. Let's do it, okay? This is part of being at cause on this rock that's floating in space. Okay? All right. So let's close this up. The Queen of Swords, that archetype energy is giving us clear vision. The Lovers is asking us to choose what aligns, and the Six of Pentacles reversed is showing where we must rebalance. We got this eclipse energy, the Autumn Equinox, bringing in reset. So whether you're standing in the storm or observing it, let it wash away what is false. Step forward glowing in truth. And that is the work. And that brings you to freedom. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this brought some resonance to you. And if it did, let me know. I want to hear from you in the comments. All right. This is Kathlena signing off. See you next week. Toodles.